So this trope has been applied to Japanese, Korean, and Chinese speakers. But all of these languages deal with R's and L's in different ways. First, though, we need to talk about the R sound in English. It turns out there isn't just one way to pronounce it.
Oh, it's incredibly varied.
Eleanor Lawson uses ultrasound to study English phonetics.
Have chilled R's, which are a sort of a R sound. You can probably hear my tapped R, so I do a R sound. Varied. You can have a retroflex R, where your tongue essentially curls upside down under your palatal arch.
Run.
One.
She says the bunched R, which is common in North American English, is particularly complex.
Nurse.
Nurse.
Say the word fur, fur. How would you tell someone where to put their tongue to make that R? The middle of the tongue rises up in the mouth while the root of the tongue is pulling backwards, and you might have some lip rounding as well. R sounds like this, where the airflow isn't blocked by the tongue or the lips, are called approximates in phonetics.
So forming all of these strictures at the same time could be very difficult for someone who's not used to producing that.
The R sound is one of the last consonants that English-speaking kids learn to say. It takes up to 5 adorable years for them to figure it out.
Poo-poo and red.
And the L sound in English can change depending on its position in a word. Say the word ladle or level, level. That first L is a clear L. You can probably feel your tongue touching the top of your mouth right behind your teeth, as in lead. But the L at the end of the word is a dark L, where the tip of the tongue might not even touch the top of your mouth at all.
A dark L is where the back of the tongue is moving up towards the soft palate, and it gives it a sort of O-ish sound, so like an O.
Level.
Level. So the English R and L are complicated, but still, they seem like pretty different sounds. It might help to look at Spanish. Say the word salero.
Salero, salt shaker. Salero, salero.
This R is made with a flap of the tongue on the ridge behind the front teeth. That's not too far away from where the L is pronounced.
Salero, hora, varios, oruga, pare.
Japanese has that R sound. It doesn't have the L in lake or the R in red.
We have rarirurero, which sounds kind of similar to both L and R.
Those are the 5 syllables in Japanese that contain the tongue flap sound.
Rarirurero.
Try saying them.
Rarirurero.
When they're converted into the Latin alphabet, they're spelled like this, with the letter R. But the Japanese R sound
La.
is actually closer to our L sound, la, than it is to the English ra.
My name is Mariko, and for all of my English-speaking friends, their intuition to say is Mariko. And then how I explain to them is just imagine my name spelled with M-A-L-I-K-O, and then you should be fine.
When words migrate from English to Japanese, both R's and L's become Japanese R's.
Garasu, calendar, bowling, light.
There are thousands of these loan words that Japanese speakers have to relearn with ers and uls, which are 2 sounds that Japanese ears weren't tuned to distinguish in the first place. Like Japanese, Korean doesn't have the English sound. They have this letter.
It's lier.
Leer.
Lier.
Leer.
Lil. Like my tongue is going straight up to the roof of my mouth. Lier.
It takes on a different sound depending on its position within the word. So when it's followed by a vowel, it has the flap sound like a Japanese R.
둘이서, 둘이서.
That also means it's written with the letter R when converted into Latin script.
둘이서.
But when it's at the end of a word,
제발.
or is followed by a consonant,
들리다.
it sounds more like an L sound, and it's transcribed in the Latin alphabet as L. So it's pretty unlikely that Korean speakers would say hero, since their L sound can map on to the English L. But the dark L doesn't exist in Korean. So when they're new to English, Koreans might use their own L sound in spots where we would use a dark L, near the ends of words.
As the story unfolds, someone may change the word.
There are at least 8 major Chinese languages, but we'll look at Mandarin and Cantonese. They both have a clear L sound, and it's restricted to the beginning of syllables.
Lang is like pretty.
La, drag.
So the notion that they would switch fa la la into fa ra ra, it's just wrong, and the makers of A Christmas Story should feel bad. Like Korean, Mandarin and Cantonese don't have the dark L sound, as in pull. But when they come across an L near the end of a word in English, they tend to pronounce it more like a vowel.
100 years old, 90 years old. I said, we should respect this kind of people.
He chose the coldest possible, really.
Mandarin does have an R sound. At the beginning of a syllable, it sounds like this.
So like actually maybe the R is like sounds more like the S in treasure. 任性.
And at the end of a syllable,
it means sun.
Cantonese, on the other hand, doesn't have an R sound at all. So when speaking English, they sometimes use a W sound or an L sound.
You know, we just tried very hard to prove ourselves.
Our ability to produce sounds in a new language depends in part on whether those sounds are meaningfully distinct in our first language. So a Japanese speaker hearing ul and it's a lot like an English speaker hearing tones in Chinese.
Ling, lang, ling, ling.
Ma, 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 ma. Yeah, so I know people's mind just blown away.
We all carry the rules of our native language with us when we learn new languages.
Accent is your identity. So I don't want to sound like an American person or British person.
So if you hear a foreign accent, remember that it's a unique hybrid. It's like a lion with stripes, something you can only get if you're brave enough to venture beyond the comfort of your mother tongue.